In this video, we will be going over how to change quadratic functions between each form. The first form given is standard, ax squared plus bx plus c with no parentheses. The second one is vertex form. This is one that you might want to memorize. A times x minus h squared plus k. And then we have factor or intercept form, when we factor it into two sets of parentheses. On example 1, we need to edit. This first one was not factorable, so rewrite it as x squared minus 4x minus 5. When I try and factor it, I have x squared minus 4x minus 5. Nothing is in front to take out, so I can x times x is x squared. 5 times 1 is 5. To get a negative 4, I need a negative 5 and a plus 1 to add up to negative 4. For vertex form, I know that my formula is a times x minus h squared plus k. Now this is why I want the formula. This is a, b, c. A is a 1. To find the h, I'm going to plug it into negative b over 2a. That gives me a positive 4 over 2. That value is going to go in for the h. And then I plug it in. 2 squared minus 4 times 2 minus 5, which is equal to negative 9. That will be my k. Rewrite the equation. 1 times x minus 2 squared minus 9 for vertex form. So on your assignment, you will have 2 answers per question. On example 2, I'm going to factor it. 2 sets of parentheses, x and x make x squared. 2 times 8 makes 16. I need a positive 6. 8 minus 2 is 6. That is factored. Now I need the vertex form. So I write my formula. A is a 1. Then I need to find h, so I do negative b over 2a. Negative 6 divided by 2 is a negative 3 for my h. I plug negative 3 into the equation. Which gives me a positive 4 for the k. When I rewrite it, I get y equals 1. X, 2 negatives make a plus 3 squared plus 4 for vertex form. On example 3, once again, it was not factorable, so I didn't edit. We edit it to y equals negative x squared minus 8x minus 12. When I factor this one, it's a little bit different because there's a number in front. I need to take that number out, which would change this to a positive x squared, a positive 8x, and a positive 12. So all of my values lose the negative or change signs. Now I can factor it and put the x's in the front. 4 times 3 would only give me 7, so 4 and 3 won't work. 2 and 6 would add up to positive 8. And that is factored. Now it wants the vertex form. So I write out y equals a x minus h squared plus k. I know a is a -1. So then I can do negative b over 2a. That would give me a positive 8 divided by 2 times -1 is -2 to get a -4 for the h. Then I plug in -4 squared minus 8 times -4 minus 12, and we get, oh, positive 4. I plug those in. 2 negatives make a positive 4 squared plus 4. And I think I made a mistake on example 2. I'm going to check it. -3 squared plus 6 times -3 minus 16 is, -25. So I just need to change this to a minus. -25. Sorry about that. So we know how to factor it and how to do vertex form. On example 4, we are going to factor it. There are only 2 terms. I can take out an x, and that would give me -2x plus 4. I could also take a -2 out. If I take -2 out, there's only an x left. Negative times a negative would give me a positive. 2 times 2 is 4. So that is factored. Then it wants vertex form. Here's my a, b, c would be 0 if I needed it. Y equals a x minus h squared plus k. I know a is a -2. Negative b over 2a would equal a -4 over -4, which equals 1. I plug that one into my equation, which gives me a positive 2 for the k. Y equals -2 times x minus 1 squared plus 2. And that is vertex form. Example 5, they want us to factor it and to write it in standard form. I'm going to write it in standard form first because it's easier to factor from there. If I want standard form, I need to get rid of my parentheses. So I'm going to write it twice. X plus 4 times x plus 4 minus 4. Distribute it. Four times 4 is 16. Minus 4 hangs out at the end. That's a total of 8 x's. 16 minus 4 is positive 12. And that would be standard form. Then it asks me to factor it, which is why I did standard first, because now that's really easy to factor. X, 12 would be 2 times 6, both positives to add up to the 8 in the middle. And that is now factored. On number 6, it wants us to write it in standard form. I'm going to write the parentheses 2 times. Now I'm going to distribute the -2 only into the first section. And the reason I do that is because now when I distribute and multiply it in, this -2 is going to now get a chance to go into the next factors. So I don't need to continue it through, because right here, it gets to go into that second set. Negative times a negative is positive. 2 times 4 is 8 with 1x, plus 8x minus 32 plus 2. 8 plus 8 is 16x. Negative 32 plus 2 is negative 30. That is in standard. Then we need to factor it. When I factor it, you can take out the greatest common factor in 1 step or 2 steps. Sometimes I like to just take out the negative, which means I change all of the signs to an opposite. Then I can take out a 2 from all of these. So if I divide it by 2, that goes away, becomes a 1. 16 divided by 2 is 8x. 30 divided by 2 is 15. Now that that number is gone and it's just a 1, x times x is x squared. 3 times 5 is 15. And to get a -8, they both need to be negatives. And that is factored. On example 7, they want standard form, which means I need to get rid of the parentheses. X squared minus 2x plus 4x minus 8. Combine like terms. And that is in standard. Then it wants us to find vertex form. So I would have y equals a x minus h squared plus k. A is a 1. B, c, so I do negative b over 2a. Then I plug it in. -1 squared plus 2 times -1 minus 8 equals -9. Which means my final equation is 1x, 2 negatives make a plus, and a -9 at the end for vertex form. Problem number 8, standard form, I distribute it. 2 times 6, 12x squared, minus 8x, plus 24x, minus 16, combined, 8 to 24. There's standard, because I have A, B, and C. Then I want to find vertex form. Y equals a x minus h squared plus k. I know a is 12. H is negative b over 2a. Negative 16 divided by 2 times 12 is 24. I'm going to just going to use decimal. Then I plug that into my equation. Plug it in. So I get y equals 12, x minus 0. Two negatives make a plus, squared minus the 21.32. And on your assignment, you won't have decimals like that in vertex form, but that's how you do it if there are decimals. That is how you will be changing between forms with quadratics.